Coming up on Network Africa, Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says President Muhammadu Buhari is recuperating very fast and should be back in the country soon. And the UN criticizes DR Congo for delays in election preparations and other human rights violations. Plus, a Ghanaian teenager built a video search engine to rival Google. Of Network Africa, and it's great to have you. I am DC Adebayo. We begin today here in Nigeria, where the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says President Muhammadu Buhari is recuperating very fast and should be back in the country soon. He, however, did not state specifically when the president would be back. Professor Osinbajo, who returned to the country this morning after meeting with the president in London, says they had a long discussion with him on a wide range of issues, particularly on the economy.
First, as you know, I went to see him to check up on him, find out how he was doing. I had, of course, been speaking to him on the phone, and I thought it would be a good thing to go and see him and, generally check up on how he was doing, and also to brief him on developments back at home. So we had a very good time, had a very good conversation on wide-ranging issues, and he's in very good spirits. He's recuperating very quickly, and he's doing very well. Well, as I've said, he's in very high spirits. He's recuperating very quickly. We had a very long conversation. We spoke for well over an hour, and his humor is all there. He's doing well.
Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, will stay in Nigeria. The Supreme Court has declared the Ahmed Makarfi-led caretaker committee of the PDP as validly constituted at the party's national convention, which held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State in 2016. The three-man Supreme Court panel, led by Justice Olabode Rhodes-Viber, held that Senator Ali Modu Sheriff ceases to be the PDP national chairman. Ali Modu Sheriff and Ahmed Makarfi have been at loggerheads since May the 21st, 2016, when Senator Sheriff was removed at the party's convention in Port Harcourt. The judgment has finally laid to rest the long-drawn internal crisis rocking Nigeria's biggest opposition party. Counsel to the Makarfi Caretaker Committee, Kano Agabi, spoke to journalists after the judgment by the Supreme Court.
We are very happy. It's one party. They are brothers and sisters. They must go back home and work together as a team. Nobody is rejoicing over the other. The judgment is correct. This is the Supreme Court. There's nowhere else to go. They must be reconciled to the judgment, be reconciled to one another, and come together and work together as a party for the good of the nation.
Away from Nigeria to Zimbabwe, where supporters of the main opposition party, the Movement for Democratic Change, have taken to the streets of Harare in protest against the nation's electoral commission. The party accuses the commission of planning to rig next year's elections so as to allow President Robert Mugabe and the ruling ZANU-PF party remain in power. However, riot police intervened using tear gas, pepper spray and water cannons to disperse the protesters. Several shops were also closed as a result of the police action. The MDC says it wants the commission to ensure that voter registration is done transparently ahead of the elections. The opposition party is also demanding reforms that includes the recomposition of the Electoral Commission in the hopes of breaking Mr. Mugabe and the ZANU-PF's grip on Zimbabwe's political power. And in East Africa, Zambian President Edgar Lungu says he may revoke emergency powers before they expire in 90 days if there's an end to the acts of sabotage and they are meant to quell what Africa's second largest copper producer, one of the continent's more stable democracies, has been unusually tense since the arrest in April of opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema on treason charges, ostensibly for impeding Lungu's motorcade. Yesterday, Parliament extended Mr. Lungu's emergency powers by 3 months in an attempt to quash a spate of arson attacks on marketplaces and courthouses. The President's spokesman, Amos Chanders, says the police are making progress in their investigations and have observed no new incidents since emergency rule was imposed a week ago. Ships carrying personnel for China's first overseas military base in Djibouti in the Horn of Africa have set sail to begin setting up the facility. This comes as China's rapidly modernizing military extends its global reach. Djibouti's position on the northwestern edge of the Indian Ocean has fueled worry in India that it would become another of China's string of pearls of military alliances and assets ringing India, including Bangladesh, Myanmar and Sri Lanka. China began construction of a logistics base in Djibouti last year. It will be used to resupply Navy ships taking part in peacekeeping and humanitarian missions off the coast of Yemen and Somalia in particular. It will be China's first overseas naval base, though Beijing officially describes it as a logistics facility. The United States has postponed for 3 months a decision on whether to permanently lift sanctions on Sudan over its human rights record and other issues. Former U.S. President Barack Obama temporarily lifted sanctions for 6 months in January, suspending a trade embargo on freezing assets and removing financial sanctions. A decision by Mr. Obama's successor, President Donald Trump, about whether to make the relief permanent had been expected today, but the United States earlier said it was very concerned about Sudan's human rights records. Meanwhile, Sudan says it has complied with all U.S. demands for lifting sanctions, which have been in place for 20 years and have hobbled the country's economy. The U.S. State Department acknowledged in a statement that Sudan has made significant substantial progress in many areas, but it says 3 more months are needed to establish that country and has fully addressed Washington's concerns.